Hey everybody, Ryan Welcher here. I'm a developer advocate for Automatic and welcome to another edition of What's New for Developers February 2026. And oh boy, do we have a lot to cover this month. WordPress 7.0 Beta 1 just dropped on February 20th, so we are officially in beta cycle. The last couple of Gutenberg releases, 22.4 and 22.5, shipped with a ton of new features, and I'm really excited to walk you through them. Also, quick heads up, WordPress 6.9.1 shipped on February 3rd with 49 bug fixes, so if you haven't updated yet, maybe go do that. As always, you can find the full article over at developer.wordpress.org/news. All right, let's dive into the highlights. Always iframed post editor. Okay, this one is a big deal, and there's actually been an important update since this article was published, so let me give you the full picture. For several years now, block-based editors have existed inside an iframe. This has been awesome for separating UI styles from block and theme styles. But here's the thing, blocks using version 2 of the block API would trigger the post editor to use the old non-iframed editor. This led to a pretty inconsistent experience. The original plan was to enforce the iframe for everyone in WordPress 7.0. However, and this is the key update, a dev note published on February 24th announced that the iframe will not be enforced in WordPress 7.0. The timeline has been revised in favor of a more gradual rollout to allow for more time and feedback from the community. So what does this mean for you? You've got more breathing room, but don't get too comfortable. This change is still coming, just not with 7.0. Now is the perfect time to get your blocks ready. If you have blocks that rely on the global document or window in JavaScript, or assume they share the DOM with the admin page, start working on those updates now. Check out the migration guide and the full dev note on iframed editor changes in WordPress 7.0 in the description for all the details. Viewport-based block visibility. Remember back in WordPress 6.9 when we got the ability to hide blocks from appearing on the front end? Well, 7.0 is taking that further with viewport-based visibility controls. This is building on that initial foundation, and it's super exciting because now you'll have even more control over when and how your blocks are displayed based on the viewport. This is something designers and theme developers have been asking for, and it's really coming together nicely. For block instance custom CSS, Gutenberg 22.5 brings custom CSS support to individual block instances. So under Advanced, additional CSS in the block sidebar, you can add CSS that's specific to just that single instance of a block. When you do this, a has custom CSS class gets added dynamically in both the editor and on the front end, which is really handy. Now, I'll be honest, this feature is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's super useful for one-off changes, but it can also create management headaches down the road if you're not careful. In most cases, you'll probably want to keep your styles at the global level or use block style variations to keep your codebase clean. But hey, it's always nice to have options. WordPress Studio CLI updates. Version 1.7.0 of WordPress Studio got some substantial updates to its command line tools. You can now control nearly every feature except sync directly from the command line. And here's the really cool part. This means it works beautifully with AI-assisted development tools like Claude Code and Cursor. So if you're into that kind of workflow, this is going to be a game changer for you. AI and agent features. The AI Experiments plugin has been updated with several improvements, and I'm pretty pumped about these. There's excerpt generation, there's a new admin screen that shows all register capabilities in one place, content summarization and image generation, improved documentation, and even playground preview support. This is all really interesting stuff for anyone interested in where WordPress and AI are heading together. UI primitives and components. The WordPress UI package received a significant update with the addition of several components and primitives designed to help developers build more consistent and accessible interfaces. If you're building custom admin interfaces or extending Gutenberg, definitely take a look at what's new here. Anchor support for dynamic blocks. This one's great for developers. Anchor support, that's the ID attribute, now works for dynamic blocks. The reference is always saved in the block comment delimiter, which allows it to be rendered on the front end dynamically. This change also updates most dynamic core blocks to include support. Text support's improved for multiple blocks. Heading, verse, and several comment-related blocks now fully support the text-align feature. During the 7.0 cycle, contributors have been standardizing text alignment across the board. We've also got text indent support landing, which is a long-requested feature. The initial implementation is limited to a specific type of indentation where the first paragraph isn't indented, but subsequent ones are. More options are coming in Gutenberg 22.6. Oh, and the paragraph block gained text column support, so you can turn a single paragraph into multiple columns of text. This is a policy update worth knowing about. AI-generated images are now allowed in the theme directory. Default link styles removed. Previously, the default WordPress theme.json file added an underline as the default text decoration on links. Since that's already the browser default, it was redundant. This has now been removed. It shouldn't impact most themes, but it's worth checking just to be sure. Breadcrumbs block updates. The breadcrumbs block is getting some fine-tuning as it gears up for the WordPress 7.0 release. Updates include theme.json block schema support, applying post type archive title filters when showing the post type archive title, a new block core breadcrumbs items filter hook for overriding the final array, and passing the post ID as an argument to existing hooks. Really nice refinements here. Extra divs removed from blocks in the editor. Gutenberg 22.4 introduced a new HTML renderer component, which renders HTML content as React elements with optional wrapper props. For theme authors, this means that several blocks will no longer have an extra wrapping div in the editor, allowing for consistent styling with the front end. This has been applied to the archives, calendar, latest comments, RSS, and tag cloud blocks. This is great news if you've ever struggled to get your editor styles to match the front end. Those extra divs caused all sorts of headaches with things like grid layouts, flexbox, and sibling selectors. Now things should be much more consistent. Gallery caption background blur. The caption background blur for gallery image captions has been changed from a max height of 40% to 3M. This could impact custom styles, so definitely check its output with your theme. Good news, after a lot of community feedback, the pull quote block is back. Aspect ratios for image blocks at all alignments. The image block now shows aspect ratio controls for wide and full alignments, giving you more flexibility on how images are displayed. Tabs block restructured. The tabs block has been restructured with inner blocks, making it more flexible and easier to work with. Navigation and overlays. The navigation overlay feature continues to improve. There's been a huge list of things from the last 2 releases that have been added, so I encourage you to go to the article and read them in depth. This feature is going to make mobile navigation so much more customizable. This is really exciting stuff. On to the Playground section. PHP version support changes. Playground has removed support for PHP version 7.2 and 7.3. The minimum PHP version is now 7.4. There were also several updates bundled for iOS and Safari in the past month, and the docs were even translated into Bengali, which is awesome for the global community. WP-ENV now supports the Playground runtime. Okay, this one is huge for local development. If you've ever used WP-ENV, you know that by default it requires Docker to be installed on your machine. And look, Docker is great, but it can be an additional hurdle to getting started with WordPress development, especially for newer developers. Well, now, with just one command, you can run local development with Playground instead. That's it, one command, 0 Docker, full WordPress. On to the resources section. 3 new blog posts landed on the developer blog in the past month. If you haven't read them already, now's the time. And that's a wrap for what's new for developers February 2026. With WordPress 7.0 Beta 1 now out in the wild, it's a really exciting time to be a WordPress developer. There's so much good stuff coming, and I can't wait to see what you build with all these new features. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. My name is Ryan Welcher, developer advocate at Automattic. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because we'll be doing more content like this on a regular basis. See you next month. Take care, everybody.